You're lying in bed. The house is silent. Everyone's asleep. Then you hear it, your name, spoken clearly from downstairs. You get up. You walk through every room. You check every door, every window, every closet. There's no one there. There never was, but you heard it. And now you can't stop listening. Welcome. Tonight we're going to talk about something that happens more often than most people admit: voices in empty houses. Not the wind, not the pipes, not your imagination. Voices that speak names, whisper words, call out from rooms that contain nothing but air and shadow. These are documented accounts, real people, real homes, real fear. Let's begin. Our first case takes us to Portland, Oregon in the autumn of 2019. A woman named Sarah Mitchell had just moved into a rental house in the Sellwood neighborhood. The house was built in 1987. Nothing unusual about its history, no deaths reported, no prior tenants mentioned anything strange. Sarah was 32, worked as a graphic designer, lived alone. She moved in on a Tuesday. By Friday night, she wasn't sure she could stay. It started on her second night there. She was in the kitchen around 11 at night, making tea before bed. The house was quiet. She had music playing softly from her phone on the counter. Then, beneath the music, she heard it. A woman's voice, singing. Not loud, just audible enough to register. Sarah turned off her music. The singing stopped. She waited, listened. Nothing. She convinced herself it was a neighbor, sound traveling through the walls. She went to bed. The third night, she heard it again. This time, she wasn't playing any music. She was reading in the living room. The singing came from upstairs, a lullaby, slow and gentle. She couldn't make out the words, but the melody was clear. Sarah walked upstairs. The singing continued as she climbed. When she reached the landing, it stopped. She checked both bedrooms, both empty, windows closed. She stood in the hallway for a long time, just listening. Silence, complete silence. She went back downstairs. 20 minutes later, it started again. Same lullaby, same location, upstairs. She didn't go check this time. She turned on the television and kept the volume high until she fell asleep on the couch. By the end of her first week, Sarah had heard the singing 6 times, always at night, always from a room she wasn't in. She started recording on her phone whenever it happened, but the recordings captured nothing, just the ambient sounds of an empty house. She called her landlord. He seemed confused, said the previous tenant lived there for 3 years without complaint. Sarah asked if anyone had died in the house. He checked. No record of any deaths, no accidents, nothing. What made Sarah finally leave wasn't the singing itself. It was what happened on her 12th night in that house. She was lying in bed upstairs trying to sleep. The singing started, but this time it wasn't coming from another room. It was coming from right outside her bedroom door. She could hear it clearly, a woman's voice, soft, melodic, singing a lullaby she didn't recognize. Sarah didn't move. She barely breathed. She just listened. The singing continued for maybe 2 minutes, then it stopped. And in the silence that followed, she heard something else. Footsteps, walking away from her door, down the hallway, down the stairs, slowly, deliberately, 1 step at a time. Sarah waited until sunrise. Then she packed. She broke her lease. She never went back. The landlord rented the house to someone else 3 weeks later. That tenant reported nothing unusual. Neither did the tenant after that. Whatever Sarah heard, it spoke only to her. Or perhaps it sang only for her. We'll never know why. Let's move to our second account. Lancashire, England, December of 2017. A family of 4 moved into a newly built house on the outskirts of Bolton. The Cartwrights, mother, father, 2 daughters aged 9 and 12. The house was part of a new development, freshly constructed, no previous occupants, no history at all, just brick and mortar and clean white walls. They moved in 3 weeks before Christmas. Daniel Cartwright worked night shifts at a distribution center. His wife Emma was a teacher. The girls were in school during the day. This meant Emma was often alone in the house during the late morning and early afternoon. That's when she started hearing the voice, a child's voice, calling for help. It sounded distant, muffled, like it was coming from behind a wall or under the floor. Emma searched the house the first time she heard it. She checked every room, every closet. She even went outside and walked around the property, thinking maybe it was a neighbor's child. Nothing, no one. The voice didn't call again that day. But it came back 2 days later, same time, around 11 in the morning. The same small voice saying the same words. "Help me, please help me." Emma recorded it this time. When she played it back, there was nothing on the recording, just silence, just the sound of her own breathing. She told Daniel. He thought she was stressed, adjusting to the new house, new area. He suggested she take a few days off work. She did. The voice didn't stop. By January, Emma was hearing it almost daily, always when she was alone, always around the same time, always the same plea, "Help me." She called a local priest. He came to the house, walked through it, said a blessing. The voice stopped for a week. Then it returned, louder this time, more insistent. Emma started leaving the house during the day. She'd go to coffee shops, libraries, anywhere but home. Daniel still heard nothing. The girls heard nothing. Only Emma. In February, Emma was in the kitchen washing dishes. It was just after noon. The voice came again, but this time it wasn't distant. It was right behind her, close enough that she felt breath on her neck. "Help me, please." She spun around. No one. The kitchen was empty, but she saw something. On the floor, wet footprints, small, child-sized, leading from where she stood to the back door. She followed them. They stopped at the door. She opened it. Nothing outside. No snow, no water, no reason for wet footprints. When she turned back, they were gone. The floor was dry.
The Cartwrights moved out in March. They sold the house at a loss. The new owners have lived there for 6 years now. They've reported nothing. No voices, no footprints, no calls for help. Emma Cartwright still won't talk about what happened. When asked, she says only that some houses shouldn't be built where they're built. She never explained what she meant. Consider this, a voice that calls for help in a house with no history, no tragedy, no death. A child's voice that only one person can hear. Footprints that appear and disappear. What leaves traces in a place that has no past? What needs help in a home that's never known suffering? Keep that question in mind. We'll come back to it. Our third case comes from rural Pennsylvania, a small town called Emmleton. Summer of 2015. A man named Robert Hayes bought an old farmhouse at auction. The house had been empty for 11 years. The previous owner died of natural causes in a nursing home. No family, no heirs. The property went to the state and eventually to auction. Robert was a contractor. He planned to renovate and resell. He'd done this before. Bought old houses, fixed them up, moved on. This was supposed to be simple. Robert started work in June. He was there alone most days, tearing out old carpet, replacing fixtures, updating wiring. The house was quiet, isolated. Nearest neighbor was half a mile down the road. Robert liked the peace. He'd bring a radio, play music while he worked, keep himself company. But on his 4th day there, something happened that made him question whether he was actually alone. He was upstairs in the main bedroom, pulling up old floorboards. It was early afternoon, hot, windows open. His radio was playing classic rock down in the kitchen, loud enough to hear throughout the house. Then, from somewhere downstairs, he heard a voice, a man's voice, not speaking, humming, a low, tuneless hum. Robert stopped working, listened. The humming continued, under the sound of the radio, distinct, deliberate. Robert called out, asked if someone was there. The humming stopped. He went downstairs, checked the front door, still locked. Back door, locked. No car in the driveway, no sign of anyone. He searched the whole first floor, nothing. He turned off the radio, stood in the kitchen, listening. Silence. He went back to work. The humming returned the next day, same time, same location, downstairs while Robert worked upstairs. He went down immediately this time, moved quickly, quietly, trying to catch whoever it was. But as soon as he reached the bottom of the stairs, it stopped. He searched again. Nothing. This pattern continued for a week. Every day, the humming. Always when Robert was upstairs, always stopping when he came down. He started to feel watched, started to notice small things. Tools moved from where he'd left them. Doors open that he'd closed. A window unlatched that he'd secured the day before. On his 11th day in the house, Robert was in the basement, working on the furnace. It was late afternoon. The light was fading. He heard footsteps above him on the first floor, slow, heavy, walking from the front of the house to the back. Robert froze, listened. The footsteps stopped. Then a voice, clear, direct, spoken at normal volume. Get out. 2 words, that's all. Robert didn't hesitate. He grabbed his tools, left the house, drove home. He didn't go back for 3 days. When he did return, he brought a friend. They worked together. The friend heard nothing, saw nothing. No humming, no footsteps, no voice. Robert finished the renovation over the next month. He never worked alone there again. He sold the house in October. The buyers have lived there for 9 years. They've never reported anything unusual. Whatever spoke to Robert Hayes never spoke again. Or perhaps it only needed to say it once. Think about that for a moment. A voice that tells you to leave in a house you own, a house you have every right to be in. But the voice doesn't ask, it doesn't request, it commands, get out. What has the authority to make that demand? What remains in a place long after the living have gone? Let's continue. Our 4th case takes us to Phoenix, Arizona, March of 2018. A college student named Marcus Thompson was house-sitting for his aunt. She was traveling for work, gone for 2 weeks. The house was in a quiet suburb, built in the early 2000s. Nothing remarkable about it. Marcus had stayed there before, knew the house well. He expected an easy 2 weeks. What he got was something very different. The first night was normal. Marcus ordered food, watched television, went to bed around midnight. He woke at 3 in the morning. He wasn't sure why. Something had pulled him from sleep. He lay there in the dark, listening. Then he heard it. Someone whispering. He couldn't make out words, just the sound of it, a harsh whisper, coming from the hallway outside his room. Marcus sat up, called out his aunt's name, thinking maybe she'd come back early. The whispering stopped. He got up, opened the door. The hallway was dark, empty. He turned on the light. Nothing. He checked the whole house, all doors locked, all windows secure. He went back to bed. Didn't sleep well. The whispering came back the next night. Same time, 3 in the morning. Marcus was ready this time. He'd left his door open, left the hallway light on. The whispering woke him. He opened his eyes, listened. It was closer now, right outside his door, still indistinct, still just below the volume where words become clear. Marcus got up, walked to the doorway. The whispering stopped. He stood there for a long time, waiting. It didn't return. By the 4th night, Marcus was recording. He set up his phone on the nightstand, started recording before he went to sleep. The whispering woke him at the usual time. He let it continue, didn't move, didn't make a sound, just listened. It lasted about 3 minutes, then stopped. In the morning, Marcus checked the recording. 6 hours of audio. He skipped to the 3 o'clock mark, listened. He could hear himself breathing, the sound of the sheets moving, but no whispering, nothing. He listened to it 3 times, same result. The recording captured nothing. On the 6th night, something changed. Marcus woke at 3, but this time the whispering wasn't in the hallway. It was in his room, right next to his bed, close enough that he could feel it, that harsh whisper, right by his ear. And this time he could make out one word, repeated over and over. Listen, listen, listen. Marcus turned on the lamp. The whispering stopped instantly. The room was empty. He didn't sleep the rest of that night. He sat in the living room with every light on until sunrise. Marcus left the next day, told his aunt he had a family emergency. She understood. She came home early. Marcus never told her what happened. She lived in that house for 2 more years without incident. Then she sold it and moved to California. The new owners reported nothing, but Marcus still won't talk about those 6 nights. When asked, he says only that something in that house wanted him to hear something. He just never figured out what. What was he supposed to listen for? What message was being delivered in whispers too quiet to record? What speaks but cannot be captured? What wants to be heard but remains beyond the reach of our devices? Our 5th case brings us to Glasgow, Scotland, November of 2016. A young couple, James and Fiona Ross, bought their first home together, a tenement flat in the West End, Victorian building, well maintained. The flat had been empty for 6 months. Previous tenant moved to London for work. Nothing unusual in the history. The Rosses were excited, first-time buyers, ready to settle down. They moved in on a Saturday. That Sunday night, Fiona was in the bathroom getting ready for bed. James was in the bedroom. The flat was quiet. Then Fiona heard something, a voice, a woman's voice, speaking from somewhere in the flat. She couldn't make out words, just the sound of someone talking, normal volume, like someone having a conversation. Fiona opened the bathroom door, called to James, asked if he'd turned on the television. He said no. She walked into the living room. No television, no radio, no devices on, but she could still hear it, that voice, talking, coming from somewhere, everywhere. She asked James if he could hear it. He listened, shook his head, nothing. Fiona stood in the middle of the living room, concentrated. The voice was clearer now. A woman, middle-aged maybe, Scottish accent, talking about ordinary things, groceries, weather, daily minutiae. But there was no one there, no source. Fiona walked through the flat. The voice followed, same volume no matter where she stood. James heard nothing. He suggested she was tired, stressed from the move. She agreed, went to bed, but she heard that voice until she fell asleep. It happened again the next night, and the night after that, always in the evening, always after dark, always the same woman's voice, talking about nothing important. Fiona started to recognize patterns, the same topics recurring, the same phrases, like listening to one side of a phone conversation that never changed. James never heard it. She stopped mentioning it to him, started to wonder if she was losing her mind. 3 weeks in, Fiona was alone in the flat. James was working late. She was cooking dinner. The voice started, that familiar one-sided conversation. But this time Fiona tried something. She responded, out loud, said hello, asked who was there. The voice stopped, immediate silence. Fiona waited. Then, maybe 30 seconds, the voice came back, but different now, faster, anxious. The words still unclear, but the tone unmistakable. Fear. The voice was afraid. It spoke rapidly for about a minute, then stopped. Fiona never heard it again. The Rosses lived in that flat for 4 years. Fiona never heard the voice after that night. They eventually moved to a bigger place when their daughter was born. The flat was rented to someone else. No reports of voices, no complaints. Fiona still doesn't know what she heard. She describes it as an echo, not of sound, but of presence, something that remained long after the source was gone. An echo of a person,
a recording of a life played back without purpose or reason. A voice that speaks and speaks until someone finally answers. Then, silence. What does it mean when a ghost stops haunting? What happens when it's finally acknowledged? We're halfway through now. Are you listening carefully? Are you aware of the sounds in your own home right now? The creaks, the settling, the ambiguous noises you've learned to ignore. Remember that. We'll need it soon. Our sixth account comes from Austin, Texas, January of 2020, right before the world changed. A software developer named Chen Wei bought a small house in the Hyde Park neighborhood. The house was built in 1925. It had been renovated several times, modernized. The most recent owner had lived there for 15 years, died of cancer. Estate sale. Chen got it at a reasonable price. He lived alone, worked from home. The house suited him. Chen moved in on a Thursday, spent the weekend unpacking, setting up his office, getting comfortable. Monday morning he started work. His office was in the second bedroom upstairs. He worked there all day. Around 3 in the afternoon, he went downstairs to make coffee. As he waited for the machine, he heard something, a voice, a man's voice, coming from his office, upstairs, speaking. He couldn't make out words, just the sound of someone talking, normal volume, like someone having a conversation. Chen opened the office door, called to Chen, asked if he'd turned on the television. He said no. He walked into the living room. No television, no radio, no devices on, but he could still hear it, that voice, talking, coming from somewhere, everywhere. She asked Chen if he could hear it. He listened, shook his head, nothing. Chen stood in the middle of the office, concentrated. The voice was clearer now. A man, calm voice, like someone giving a lecture or presentation. Chen stepped out of the office. The voice stopped. He stepped back in. It started again. Same cadence, same tone. He stood in the doorway, listening. The voice wasn't coming from a speaker. It wasn't coming from a specific location. It seemed to come from the air itself, from the air. Chen recorded it on his phone, played it back. Nothing, just ambient noise. He went downstairs, tried to work from the kitchen. The voice didn't follow. The next day, same time, 3 in the afternoon. Chen was in his office. The voice started. Same man, same calm delivery. Chen tried to make out words, focused hard. He could almost catch them. Almost. They stayed just beyond comprehension, like listening to someone speak through a wall. Clear enough to know its speech, too muffled to understand. This continued every workday, always at 3 p.m., then silence.
Chen researched the house, found the obituary of the previous owner, a professor, taught economics at UT Austin for 30 years, worked from home after he retired. Chen looked at photos of the man, wondered if that was the voice he heard. The professor's office had been in that same room, that second bedroom, same desk, same view. Chen had kept the desk, liked the solid wood, the craftsmanship. He started to wonder if that was the connection. In March, Chen moved the desk out of the office, put it in the garage, set up a new desk, different configuration, different position in the room. That afternoon at 3, the voice returned, same as always. The desk wasn't the answer. Chen tried everything, rearranged furniture, changed his work schedule, even had the electrical system checked. Nothing explained it. The voice persisted. Then the pandemic hit. Chen stopped working in the office, set up in the living room, needed a change of scenery. The voice stayed upstairs. He'd hear it sometimes if he went up there around 3, but it didn't follow him, didn't seek him out, just remained in that room, continuing its lecture to an empty audience of empty air. Chen still lives in that house, still hears the voice occasionally. He's gotten used to it, treats it like a quirk of the property, like a creaky floorboard or a door that won't stay closed, just one more feature of an old house. But here's what Chen told me when I spoke to him. He said the voice never changes,
Same words, same patterns, like it's trapped in a loop, repeating the same lecture, the same presentation, over and over, forever. And he wonders sometimes what it would take to make it stop, what would break the cycle. He's never tried to find out. What happens to the things we do repeatedly? Do they leave impressions? Do our routines create grooves in reality? And if we do something enough times in the same place at the same time, does it continue without us? Let's move to our 7th case, rural Vermont, August of 2014. An artist named Rebecca Shaw rented a cottage for the summer. She wanted isolation, wanted to focus on her work. The cottage was perfect, small, 1 bedroom, middle of nowhere, nearest neighbor 3 miles away. She moved in at the beginning of August, planned to stay through September. Rebecca worked at night. She painted, found the quiet darkness inspiring. She'd sleep during the day, wake around sunset, work through the night. It suited her rhythm. The cottage suited her needs. Everything was ideal for the first week. Then one night, around 2 in the morning, Rebecca was painting in the main room. She had music playing, jazz, soft, background noise. She paused, stepped back from her canvas, and heard something under the music. Breathing, heavy, labored, like someone who'd been running. Rebecca turned off the music. The breathing continued, loud, close, right behind her. She spun around. Nothing, no one. But the breathing didn't stop. It surrounded her, filled the room, in and out, steady, struggling. Rebecca moved through the cottage, checked the bedroom, the bathroom, the small kitchen. The breathing followed, same volume, same rhythm, no matter where she went. She opened the front door, stepped outside. In the night air, the breathing stopped. Complete silence, just the sounds of the forest. Rebecca stood there for a long time, eventually went back inside. The breathing didn't return that night, but it came back the next night, same time, 2 in the morning. Rebecca was ready. She'd set up her phone to record. The breathing started. She let it continue, recorded for 5 minutes, then it stopped. She played back the recording immediately. All she heard was her music, the sound of her brush on canvas. No breathing, nothing. She tried again the following night. Same result. The breathing was there, in the room, undeniable, but not capturable, not recordable, not provable. Rebecca started to notice other things. Cold spots, sudden drops in temperature, always near where the breathing seemed strongest. And sometimes, in her peripheral vision, she'd see movement, like someone walking past, but when she looked directly, nothing, empty space. She considered leaving, breaking the lease, but something kept her there. Maybe stubbornness, maybe curiosity, maybe something else. In her 3rd week at the cottage, Rebecca was cleaning. Daylight, late afternoon. She moved the couch to vacuum behind it, found something, a small vent, low on the wall, covered by where the couch had been. She opened it. Inside was a crawl space, dark, narrow. She used her phone as a flashlight, looked inside. Empty. Except for marks on the floor, drag marks, and scratches on the walls, deep, frantic, like someone had been trapped there, trying to claw their way out. Rebecca closed the vent, moved the couch back. She asked the landlord about it later. He said the cottage used to have a wood stove. That crawl space was part of the old chimney system, been sealed off for 20 years. Nothing in there but dust and maybe some animals over the years. Rebecca didn't mention the scratches, didn't mention the drag marks. She finished out her lease, left in September as planned, never went back. The cottage is still rented out. Summer tenants, different artists and writers looking for isolation. Some stay the whole season, some leave early. The landlord never asks why. Rebecca told me she still hears that breathing sometimes, late at night when everything's quiet. She's in her apartment in Brooklyn now, far from Vermont, but the sound followed her. Or maybe she brought it with her. She doesn't know which would be worse. What breathes without lungs? What struggles without a body?
What leaves scratch marks in sealed spaces where no one should be able to reach? These questions don't have comfortable answers. We're nearing the end now. 2 more accounts. Stay with me. We're almost through. Our 8th case comes from Liverpool, England, October of 2021. A nurse named David Kowalski moved into a ground floor flat in a converted Victorian house. The building had been split into 4 units. David's was the largest, 2 bedrooms, high ceilings, original features. He'd wanted to live there for years, finally got his chance when the previous tenant moved to Manchester. David worked 12-hour shifts at the hospital, mostly nights. He'd come home exhausted, sleep during the day. The flat was perfect for that, quiet during daylight hours, comfortable, secure. But 3 days after moving in, David came home from a night shift around 8 in the morning, let himself in, locked the door behind him, kicked off his shoes, went to the kitchen to make breakfast. While he was at the stove, he heard it. A child, laughing, clear, delighted. The kind of laugh that's pure joy. It came from his bedroom. The door was closed. David walked over, opened it. The room was empty. Bed unmade from when he'd left for work. Curtains still drawn. No child, no source for the laughter. But as he stood in the doorway, he heard it again, right there in the room. That same bright laugh. Then silence. David checked the flat, every room, every closet, nothing. He went outside, checked the building, asked the upstairs neighbor if she had kids visiting. She didn't, lived alone, hadn't heard anything. David went back to his flat, tried to sleep, couldn't, kept waiting for that laugh. It didn't come back that day, but it returned, every few days, always when David came home from a night shift, always from his bedroom, always that same joyful laugh, like a child playing, having fun, completely oblivious to the fact that no one else was there. David started opening his bedroom door before he entered the flat, leaving it open while he was home. The laugh still came, still emanated from that room, still disappeared when he investigated. In November, David was sleeping, afternoon, after a particularly hard shift. He woke to singing, a child's voice, singing a nursery rhyme, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, soft, sweet, coming from the corner of his room. David opened his eyes. The corner was empty, but the singing continued, all the way through the song, then stopped. David didn't move, just stared at that empty corner, waiting. After a few minutes, he heard something else, crying, quiet, sad, the sound of a child trying not to be heard. It lasted maybe 30 seconds, then nothing, just silence.
David reported it to the landlord, asked about the history of the building. The landlord checked. The building was over 100 years old, originally a single-family home, converted in the 1980s. No records of anything unusual, no deaths, no incidents, just an old house split into flats. Normal, mundane. The landlord suggested David was stressed, working too much, hearing things. David didn't argue, but he knew what he heard. The sounds continued through winter, the laughing, the singing, sometimes the crying, always from his bedroom, always when he was alone. David started sleeping in the second bedroom, used the first one for storage. The sounds stayed in there, didn't follow, didn't spread, just remained in that one room, doing whatever they did, playing, singing, crying, existing. David still lives there, still hears the child sometimes. He's learned to coexist with it, doesn't try to explain it, doesn't try to stop it, just accepts that his bedroom is occupied by something he can't see, something that seems harmless, maybe even lonely. He told me once that he wonders if acknowledging it makes it stronger, or if ignoring it is cruel. Either way, he's learned to live with a presence he doesn't understand. Most of us have, we just don't admit it. What plays in empty rooms? What sings when no one's listening? What cries in the dark? And most importantly, what needs comfort but cannot be comforted? One final account, then we'll talk about what it all means. Our 9th and final case is recent, December of 2023. A family in Nashville, Tennessee. The Harpers, mother, father, teenage son. They bought a house in East Nashville, renovated craftsmen, updated everything. New kitchen, new bathrooms, fresh paint, perfect for a fresh start. They moved in 2 weeks before Christmas, excited, optimistic, ready for the holidays in their new home. Christmas Eve, the family was downstairs watching a movie, fireplace going, tree lit up, everything warm and festive. Their son, Marcus, went upstairs to his room around 9, said he was tired, wanted to text some friends and go to sleep. His parents stayed downstairs, finished the movie. Around 11, they went up to bed. As they passed Marcus's room, they heard him talking, having a conversation. They assumed he was on the phone, didn't interrupt, went to their own room. Around midnight, Marcus's mother got up to use the bathroom. As she passed his room again, she heard him still talking, but this time she paused, listened. Marcus was speaking, then pausing, then responding, like he was having a conversation, but she couldn't hear anyone else. No voice on a phone, no video call sounds, just Marcus talking to someone. She knocked on his door, asked if he was okay. The talking stopped. Marcus opened the door, asked what she needed. She asked who he was talking to. He looked confused, said no one. He'd been asleep. She let it go, assumed she'd been mistaken, went back to bed. But the next morning, Marcus looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept. His parents asked if he was feeling okay. He said he was fine, just a weird night, weird dreams. They didn't push it. Christmas Day proceeded normally. That night, around the same time, Marcus's father heard him talking again. Same pattern, conversation, pauses, responses. This time, his father opened the door without knocking. Marcus was asleep, lying in bed, eyes closed, but talking. Clear words, full sentences, having a conversation in his sleep. His father woke him, asked what he was dreaming about. Marcus said he didn't remember, but he looked scared. Said he kept dreaming about a man in his room, a man standing by the window, just watching him, talking to him, asking him questions. Marcus's father checked the room, windows locked, curtains drawn, nobody there. He told Marcus it was just a dream, stayed with him until he fell back asleep. The talking continued every night. Marcus would fall asleep, then start having conversations, always with the same person. His parents started recording him, trying to understand what he was saying. The words were clear, Marcus responding to questions, answering, explaining things, but they could never hear the other side, never hear what was being asked, just Marcus's responses, and the responses were disturbing. He'd say things like, "I don't know how I got here," or "I can't remember that," or "Please stop asking me that." After a week, Marcus refused to sleep in his room. He was terrified, said the man was getting more insistent, more aggressive in the questions. Marcus started sleeping on the couch. The talking stopped, but Marcus wasn't the same. He became withdrawn, anxious. His parents took him to a doctor, then a therapist. Nobody found anything wrong, just stress, maybe night terrors. Marcus finished the school year. Then the family sold the house, moved across town. Marcus is better now, sleeps normally, no more conversations with invisible interrogators. The new owners of the Nashville house reported nothing. Their teenage daughter sleeps in that same room. No issues, no voices, no questions. Whatever spoke to Marcus spoke only to him, or perhaps it asked only him. We'll never know what it wanted, what answers it was looking for. Why Marcus specifically? These questions remain unanswered, like so many others. So, now we've heard 9 accounts, 9 different people, 9 different houses, but some patterns emerge, don't they? The voices come at specific times. They speak to specific people. They cannot be recorded, cannot be proven, cannot be explained. They exist in that space between what we know and what we fear, between the rational and the impossible. Think about the houses you've lived in, the apartments,
The rooms. Have you ever heard something you couldn't explain? A voice when you thought you were alone? A sound that shouldn't exist? Most of us have. Most of us dismiss it, rationalize it, move on. But what if we're wrong to do that? What if those voices are real, not in the way we understand real, but real nonetheless? There's a theory, not scientific, not proven, but worth considering. The theory suggests that spaces remember, not consciously, not intentionally, but they absorb, like a recording. Events happen, emotions occur, lives are lived, and the space itself retains some impression of that, some echo. Most of the time we don't notice. The echo is too faint, too degraded. But sometimes, under certain conditions, with certain people, the echo becomes audible, becomes present, becomes real enough to hear. What are those conditions? Nobody knows. Why certain people? No answer. But the accounts keep coming, year after year, house after house. Voices in empty rooms, calls from vacant hallways, whispers from nowhere. They persist. They continue. They wait. Here's what unsettles me most. Not the voices themselves, but the consistency of them. The way they follow patterns, the way they seem purposeful, like they're trying to communicate something, trying to bridge a gap between where they are and where we are. Some want help, some give warnings, some just exist, looping through routines that ended long ago. But they're all trying to be heard, and we're all trying to pretend we don't hear them.
Tonight, when you're home, when the house is quiet, when you're alone in a room, listen. Really listen. Not for anything specific, just listen. To the silence, to the stillness, to the empty air around you. Because it might not be as empty as you think. It might contain voices, echoes, presences, things that were, things that remain, things that speak. And if you hear something, if you catch a whisper, a word, your name spoken softly from another room, don't convince yourself it's nothing. Don't rationalize it away. Consider the possibility, just for a moment, that you're not alone, that you've never been alone, that houses remember, and sometimes, when conditions are right, they speak. The 9 people we discussed tonight are real. Their experiences are documented. Their fear was genuine. They heard something, something that shouldn't exist but does, something that cannot be explained but persists. And they're not the only ones. There are thousands of accounts, tens of thousands, people hearing voices in empty houses. Most never report it, never share it, never admit it, because admitting it means accepting something we don't want to accept, that the boundaries between here and elsewhere are thinner than we thought, that the past doesn't stay buried, that the dead might not be silent. So tonight, in your home, in your room, in the quiet moments before sleep, remember these stories, remember these voices, and when you hear something, anything, don't be so quick to dismiss it. Don't be so certain it's nothing, because the people we talked about were certain too, until they weren't, until they heard their names called from empty kitchens, until they heard children singing in vacant bedrooms, until they heard whispers in the dark that came from nowhere and everywhere at once. Houses remember, whether we want them to or not. They hold on to what happened within their walls. And sometimes, when we're quiet enough, still enough, open enough, they let us hear. They let us know. They let us understand that we're living in spaces that have hosted life and death and everything between. And those experiences don't just disappear. They linger. They wait. They echo. Sleep well tonight. Lock your doors. Check your windows. Turn off the lights. And in that moment, that quiet moment before consciousness fades, listen. Just listen. You might not hear anything. Most nights you won't. But some nights, some rare nights, you might catch something. A whisper, a word, a voice that has no source. And you'll join the others, the ones who know, the ones who heard, the ones who can never quite convince themselves they imagined it. The houses are speaking. They always have been. The question is whether we're ready to hear what they're saying, whether we're brave enough to acknowledge what calls to us from empty rooms, whether we can accept that silence isn't always empty and that being alone doesn't mean we're the only ones there. This has been 9 accounts of voices heard from empty houses, real people, real experiences, real fear. Whether you believe them or not doesn't change what they heard, doesn't change what's waiting in the quiet places, doesn't change what speaks when no one should be speaking. The voices continue in houses across the world, calling, whispering, singing, crying, existing in that space we can't explain, that space between the real and the impossible, that space where the dead speak and the living listen, whether they want to or not. Thank you for listening. Sleep well, and remember, you're never truly alone. Not in any house, not in any room. Something is always there, always watching, always waiting, always ready to speak, if you're ready to hear.